Welcome back to the show, everybody. Now to discuss some of today's biggest political stories, we bring in our Power Panel. Joining me now, Josh Gerstein, White House reporter for Politico. Also with me, syndicated op-ed columnist Tina Dupuis. She's also a host on the Young Turks Network. Finally, Amanda Turkle, senior political reporter for the Huffington Post. All right, first question, everybody. Is big business bad business? Former Senator Russ Feingold lashed out at Democratic super PACs yesterday. He said that the party is in danger if it accepts corporate donations. Take a listen.
I empathize with the desire to fight fire with fire. But Democrats should just never be in the business of taking unlimited corporate contributions. It's dancing with the devil, and it's a game that we will never win.
Amanda, is he right?
Well, corporate contributions do go much more heavily toward Republicans than Democrats. And Feingold's argument is that, look, not taking this sort of corporate cash, not being beholden to these interests, that's part of the Democratic Party identity. We can take small dollar contributions. That's what Obama did. We can win. But others are saying, look, we can't go up against that big money. Unions don't have it anymore. We need to fight fire with fire.
All right, Josh, what about that? I mean, it looks like the Democrats are in a bit of a tough spot, to be fair to them, right? Because if they don't take the corporate money, then the Republicans have a huge advantage. If they do take it, then they're beholden to the same guys and can't really serve the middle class that they say that they represent.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and the other thing to consider here is that I think that you'd see these kinds of efforts going on both sides anyway. I mean, it's sort of what Feingold's saying, I think, presumes that if Obama gives the signal this time, this won't happen. And it seems to me, even though the White House is taking a somewhat different position this time than it did 4 years ago, that these efforts are going to happen anyway, that big donors are going to band together on both sides to take full advantage of the loopholes that the Supreme Court and others have found in recent years. So I think it's an interesting argument, but I feel like this money spigots are going to go on full blast anyway.
Well, there's no question about that. But, I mean, I like that there's somebody fighting back, and I like that it's Feingold. But, Tina, let me ask you this question. Right. It seems like the White House isn't going to appease any of these big donors anyway. Look at what they're complaining about. Wall Street lobbying to undo new regulations. That's still going on. Manufacturers say environmental policies hinder growth. Companies like Boeing warring with labor regulators. And all of that is going on, and they say, well, all the stuff that Obama gave us is still not going to, even Wall Street saying that. So is there any point in trying to appease these people?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I love that Feingold came out and he said all these things and he talked about the problem, but his solutions, like not taking this money, and later in his speech he said that we could hopefully rely on the Supreme Court to overturn Citizens United. That's just not a realistic solution to the problems that he brought up.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Look, I think we need to have an enormous fight on campaign finance reform. I think Josh was right. President Obama talked a good game in 2008. What happened? I mean, nothing's happened since. Nothing, right? But on the other hand, Amanda, if you get a Republican and he puts more pro-corporate justice on the Supreme Court, then it's full-blown disaster, isn't it?
Well, that's what White House Communications Director Dan Pfeiffer was out here in Minneapolis speaking at Netroots Nation today, too. And he was saying, look, you may not like that Obama hasn't fulfilled all these promises, but if a Republican beats Obama in 2012, none of that is going to happen. Everything you want and everything we've worked for will go out the window. So that's the argument the White House is trying to make, too. I mean, part of what Feingold was saying was that, you know, Obama should be making campaign finance reform more of an issue at every campaign stop he does, and it should be front and center, and it should be highlighted more, even if, yes, some of this money exchange will be going on regardless of what he says.
Well, you know, Josh, that gets to the final point here, because it's tough to say, hey, campaign finance reform, I don't want to meet with the lobbyists of the Wall Street people. As you're meeting with the lobbyists and the Wall Street people, Jay Carney had to come out today and say, yeah, you know, we had a meeting in March. We brought in a whole bunch of Wall Street people into the White House. Now, how's a Democrat going to win when he's bringing, you know, all these Wall Street fat cats in the White House and trying to appease them? That doesn't seem like a winning electoral strategy, does it?
Well, I mean, this has been a concerted strategy of the White House for, I would say, at least 6 months to a year or so. They really felt they were losing traction with the business community. And you know, the business community was really not hostile to Obama when he came in. He got tremendous support in Wall Street. Most people thought he got more support on Wall Street than Bush did, maybe for a variety of reasons. But you're right. Now he's having meetings in the Blue Room of the White House, meetings that to me sound a lot like the coffees and things that President Clinton got in a bunch of trouble for. for in 1996. They're really pulling out all the stops to try to please the business community and do everything they can to, I don't know if they're going to get themselves on the Democratic side, but maybe at least stop them from, diligently opposing the president in 2012.
Yeah, I hear you. Look, it's all about the money, unfortunately. All right, we got to go to the next question for the panel. Is there a fox in the governor's mansion? That's the question. A New York Magazine article last month reported that Fox chairman Roger Ailes called Governor Chris Christie, encouraging him to run for president. Following that piece, the website Gawker filed a request under New Jersey's Open Records Act for any correspondence between the two men. Now, here's the response that the website got. Christie's office said they would, quote, be exempt from disclosure based upon the executive privilege and well-settled case law. Now, in other words, Christie's staff refused to search for any records on the basis that Ailes is a confidential advisor whose comments should be shielded from public scrutiny. Tina, do we have a problem when a Republican governor or any governor says, yeah, I'm taking political advice from the guy who runs that major news channel, and so I don't want to tell you about it?
Right. I mean, if this story was told to you by someone who sat down next to you at an airport, you'd think the guy was ready for a tin hat. I mean, it really sounds like a conspiracy theory, and but this has actually happened. Yeah, no, this is not good. And Chris Christie should kind of come out and be honest with everyone, just like he did with the helicopter, and fess up to talking to Ailes.
And look, Josh, shouldn't Ailes fess up? Look, I secretly Republican Party, and they all have to kiss my ring, and that's the way this thing works.
Right. Well,
that's
look,
bragging.
most of the Republican Party candidates actually work for Ailes or have within the last 30 days, haven't they? I mean, it's a very unusual situation over there. I actually think, I think you may be alluding to, it's more of an issue for Ailes than it is for Christie. It's just an unusual news operation where the head of it is regularly dispensing advice to political candidates. I wouldn't say it's illegal. I wouldn't say it's unethical, but it's just not the way in the last 20 or 30 years large news organizations in this country have behaved. And I think even some advocacy media groups would be cautious about advising individual candidates about how to position themselves politically.
Amanda, sometimes people say Rush Limbaugh is the titular head of the Republican Party. Some of those people are Rush Limbaugh. But I think the real titular head of the party is Roger Ailes. I mean, whether it was all the way back to Nixon, whether it was George H.W. Bush, whether it was Reagan, whether it was Ailes' network crowning George W. Bush the winner in 2000, and now advising all of these candidates, isn't he the real head of the Republican Party?
Roger Ailes has had the ear of many powerful Republican politicians, and they go on his network. Their profiles boosted, as we've seen with Sarah Palin, with Newt Gingrich, with Mike Huckabee. They all benefit from this relationship, as he does as well. And I mean, this will make the public question every time Chris Christie makes a decision that has to somehow do with Roger Ailes' business interests. When Chris Christie goes on the media, what is he doing? And when he does a political run, is he taking the advice of Roger Ailes? So, this raises a lot of problems for both men.
Tina, last thing here. Look, as the Fox News gives $1 million to the Republican Governors Association, as Josh pointed out, they have all these Republican candidates on there, et cetera, et cetera. Can they make a credible case? I mean, I know it's almost a fair and balanced.
Well, I always thought that was sarcastic anyway. Are we taking that seriously now? I always thought it was kind of like tongue-in-cheek, something that you say when you're being insincere, right? Isn't that how that works?
Maybe you got it. Maybe it was ironic all along.
So, I just assumed I was the only one. I thought that was what we had agreed on. Yeah.
All right. Josh Gerstein, Tina Dupree, and Amanda Turkle, thanks for a great panel. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.